Good evening.
All right. I'm not sure I remember who that was, but like I'm just asking. Okay. So let's just go into the class. I feel like this is where I might start to sort of like give an assignment, like a proper assignment, because we're going to look at designing a particular flyer. There's this flyer I saw, and I feel like with all we've learned so far, we can easily it's going to be an application of everything that we have worked on so far. So I trust that you guys are good enough, so much so that if I start the design, you guys can go back and finish it. I can just show you. I can even send you the PSD file. Should I do that? No, there's no need. I'll just start it, then you guys go back and finish it. All right. So I'm just going to come here and use, because I actually want to design something today, let me just use this artboard selected. I'm going to create a new document. So let me get the flyer I want to replicate. Okay, let me see. I think this is not a bad flyer to replicate. Agamaturu Chineke Mama Suru Mikwijayama. Go praise you, go Salama. Now you will be my Oyama. Agaturu Chineke Mama Suru Mikwijayama. You go praise. So let me start with the teaching on color, but I actually just wanted to get to the flyer. But let me see if I can do like a groundwork on color. Then as we go on, we learn more. You get. And probably I told you guys I'm going to teach you a class on FX, and based on my curriculum, either we learn it next week or either we learn it next week through a class, because it's a very simple but effective class. You get. Either we learn it next week or I'll just do like a pre-recorded video and send as well. I'm making a lot of promises. The Lord help me. So yeah, here's the way colors work generally on Photoshop. There are some terms you need to know. So this is like, I don't know what they call this stuff, but I know that this is the foreground color and this is the background color. Do you get? So what this generally means is if I click on this button here, this stuff that looks like a changer or something, if I just click on it, you see that this color goes front and this one goes back. I've never seen this background color being applied before, but what I know is that this is the color that is going to come anytime you select something. Anytime you select something that has to do with color, either is a shape or I'm not sure it works for text, but either is a shape or you select a brush. So at least if you select a shape, for example, now, okay, because this because this red is here, this is the first color that is here. If I change it now to black, you see this color has come here. You get. So I think there's something up with my shape tool that is going to come out first with a fill color. You get. So as I'm changing it, are you noticing the change here? Look here, you see the change here. But it's not something that is irreversible, sha, because let's say red is here, for example, now, and I select my rectangle tool. I can as well select my ellipse tool or polygonal tool, but let's work with rectangle today. Then I open my rectangle tool. Now, first of all, you see that the red has changed to red. Now, because my rectangle tool is selected, you can use the pick tool as well. This is the pick tool. Select the rectangle tool and double click here. So this doesn't change the color of this. It's just, let's just call it the foreground color. And it's just that anytime you open a shape or a brush, that's the color that it imitates. That's where it gets its color from, the color that is showing here. Do you understand? But now, in order to change your rectangle to the color under your rectangle, there are two ways to do it. Either you come here and double click. Make sure you're not double clicking on this gray stuff here. I think they call it the anchor point. Make sure you're not double clicking on it. Make sure you're double clicking on the actual layer, and you see that you can actually change the color and it's going to change and what's not. You get. So because we want to work with purple. Now here's another thing. If you want to pick a color while selecting, if you just take your brush outside, you see that the color picker tool is appearing, and you can just pick a color, and that's the color that you're going to have. The color picker tool. So there's a tool for color picker. You get. And if I click on this color picker tool, the color is going to change here. So the color picker tool basically works with this foreground color. So that's why they don't really use it. Or another way to use the color picker tool, this is so much information, but let me just say it. Another way to use the color picker tool is if you have a layer selected and you select your paintbrush. Let me reduce this so that it's not too big. Now, if I'm painting, I'm going to be seeing this. Remember what I told you guys? I'm going to be seeing the color that is showing here. You get. But in case I don't want to use that color, I want to use something else, I can press on alternate or option. And because option is pressed, the color picker tool appears immediately. Meanwhile, the brush selection tool, the brush tool is still here. You get. So if I press on alternate or option, I can go here, pick another color, and or let me just use this color because that's black. Let me use this color, pick this color here. You can pick any color that you want. You get. And that will now become the color of the brush. So that when you brush, you see the color that is showing. You get. So that's where the color picker tool is also being used. But let's go back to the rectangle. So when you go back to the rectangle, for example, you have your fill. Now, here's another thing too that you need to know. An element on Photoshop or in graphic design generally can have two colors, either the fill color or the stroke color. So the fill color is the color that is inside, the stroke color is the external color. So you see that outside here there is this, you get. So you can click on rectangle, come here. If you don't want the rectangle to have a color, okay, I told you guys that if you want to change the color, you can double click here, right? Double click here and you change the color. Another way again is by clicking on this fill color, and guess where this thing is showing? It does not just automatically show on your laptop like this. It's showing because property tab is selected. Do you understand? So if I go to paragraph now, I will not be seeing the properties of the rectangle. You get. So this is the property of the rectangle. It's showing the weight, the height, where it is on the x-axis. X-axis is basically like x-axis on the graph. So it's on this side on the x-axis. If I increase it, you see that it's moving to this side on the other side of the x-axis. If I increase the y-axis, it's going down. If I reduce it, it's going up. Do you get? So these are basically the properties of this rectangle. So this is in terms of transform. I can also rotate it here too. So as I'm doing this, it's rotating. But let me just press on Ctrl Z. I can reflect it. There's not going to be any difference because it's a rectangle. You get. If I reflect it, there's not going to be any difference. You're not going to notice it. But now this is the appearance. This talks about everything concerning the appearance of this rectangle. So I can come here and change the stroke. So I told you about how to change the color of this thing. You can tick here. Now the color gives you four options. The first one is no color at all, no fill. The second one is you giving it a fill color. So you can come here and select any of the colors that appear here, or you can click on this thing here, this multicolored stuff that is here, to go back to the color. What do they call this thing again? It's not the color wheel sha, but like color picker or something. You get. So I remember how I showed you how to pick. If you want to go to red, you go to red, and either you want to pick like a lighter red, a paler red, or a darker red, or you get in between here based on what you want sha. But anyhow, if you have a color, especially on Photoshop, that you want, you can just come here. If you want this color, pick this color, and that will automatically be the color. You get. You want this color, pick this color, and that's the color. You get. Then here talks about gradients. So you can come here, select the gradients, and you see this gradient generator, it will appear. You get. So you can select how you want the gradient to be. So if you want to change the color of the gradient on this end, you double click and you see the color picker to. So you see the color picker to, you see it a lot of places. You get. You want to change this now to blue. That's an amazing combination. Let's see. Let's make it a lighter blue so that it makes sense. Also, another thing you need to learn as a graphic designer, as if you want to be a graphic designer, is color theory. Color is very amazing. You get. So there's something I did now, because I don't want the stroke to show anymore. I clicked on the stroke. You know, the stroke has the same thing as well. It has gradients. It has fill color. So this is fill, solid color. Yes, solid color. This is gradient. This is no color. So if you click on it, it just removes the color at once. So that's what I clicked on. So if you see anything that has this white and red stroke in between, red diagonal stroke in between, it is no color. You get. So if I click on the fill color now, I told you this is no color, this is fill color, this is solid color, this is gradient color, and this is patterns. I hardly use this, but you can come here and explore different patterns, change the scale. So like right now the scale is 100. You can either increase the scale or reduce the scale so that it's lower than 100. As you reduce the scale, you notice that, you know, the greens, the trees are coming out more. If it's one, you see it's too much on the page. You get. So as you increase the scale of the grass, the higher the grass, the bigger the grass become. So reduce it, and you see now the grass is very small. You get. Same thing works for here. So these are trees. Increase it, the trees are bigger. Come here, this is grass, grass, grass. You get. So I believe you can actually even add more texture colors, so you can actually add more patterns. You get. So there's a way to actually set and add a new pattern, but like let's not focus on that today. Then this is water as well. So these are different water colors that you can use for. People hardly use this. I personally hardly use this, but like I think there's what you'll be working on, because even bevel and emboss, I didn't used to use it before until I worked on a marketing campaign last year, and then I realized, wow, I actually needed this bevel and emboss to communicate to communicate what I wanted to communicate to the project. But for today's tutorial, let's just leave it at this purple. So this purple is under solid colors. You get. And the stroke, we are not using any stroke, so this is what's selected, no stroke. You get. I think for the essence of recording, let me increase my screen. Then the second thing you want to look at is the edges. So how is the so this is for stroke, this is under stroke. These three things, they are under stroke. So you want to select now. This is basically determining where the stroke is going to be. Let me add a stroke so that you understand what I'm saying. So let's just use a white stroke so that it makes sense, and keep the stroke at 10 or 20 so that you basically see it very well. So now what we are changing here is whether is the stroke starting from in between the edge of the rectangle. So like this is the edge of the rectangle, the stroke is starting, some of the stroke is entering inside the rectangle and some of them are outside the rectangle. You get. So that's why this one is here. If I click on this, it means that all the stroke is inside the rectangle. I hope you understand that. Then if I click on the last one under, it means that all the stroke is outside the rectangle. Do you get? Now the next one talks about this is mostly for lines, but I don't think it's not going to really apply here. This is talking about the edge of a line and where the anchor point is on the line. You get. So but mostly we use this first one because this is just basically me. So let's say I create a new layer now. This is a new layer, and then I carry the pen tool and I come and I draw a line, and let's say that line is green. So I'm just going to change it here. So this is green. I think this is good enough. So you see that for pen tool, when you create a shape or anything on pen tool, the properties, for some reason the properties does not show here. It shows here. You get. I think you can actually drag this. Actually, I've tried to drag it before, it doesn't work. But now you see it's almost the same thing. It's the same thing definitely. But let me show you where you can actually access those options we are seeing on that stroke. So I just wanted to show you the use of that edge stuff that we saw. So you see the way this stroke is an individual stroke. This is what I meant. This is the edge of the stroke, the anchor point on the edge. So you edit the anchor point on the edge by going here. Now see that thing again. If you click on this, it means that the edges is rounded. You understand? If you click on this other one, it means that the edges it's very straight, but it is extended. So it's like extended straight. So this one is like extended round. You get this one is basically the normal one. There's no extension and it's straight. You get. Then the last thing that we are seeing under stroke, you will not necessarily see it on this stroke, except I had created a pen to exactly. So you see the way it is now. This is a shape, just like the rectangle is exactly. Let me click on the pen tool again. You can come here, and the idea of this other one now is the corners. So this talks about what the corners are going to look like. Right now the corners are very geometrical and they are very straight. So if I click on this, it means that the corners are round. You get. Then if I now go and click on this, it means that the corners are chamfered. So the same thing too, especially this one applies to the rectangle. So if I come to the rectangle and I don't like the way the corners are straight, I can come here and click on this and the corners are going to be round. But now let me show you something. The reason why you were not seeing it was because the rectangle was white. Sorry, the stroke was white. And so what this means is that this applies only on the stroke. So if I want it to be invisible, what I can just do is easily make the stroke pink and purple as well. You get. But there's another way to round the edges of the rectangle. You get, and we'll come to that. And I think that's the next thing actually that we're talking about. But there's no other way to do this thing to make the edges chamfered. You get. So let's remove the stroke so I can show you. So we're just going to go to like no color for the stroke. Then want to round the stroke. Want to round the edges of the rectangle without the stroke. Remember how we did with the stroke now. But without the stroke, here's how we're going to do it. And this one is more flexible because on your Photoshop, depends on the year that you use. You either see these dots at the edge, especially when you zoom in. Okay, not especially when you zoom in. I think no matter, yeah, especially when you zoom in. Yes, exactly. But if you come up close, you see it, and as you drag it, it increases. Now, here's something that you should notice. As this thing is increasing, the numbers here are increasing. You get. So if I want to control it and I want to be very particular, I can just call it 1. You get 1 inch. So you can increase or reduce based on what you want. You get. Another thing you should know about this is it's very possible to increase, to curve one edge and not curve the other edge. The reason why all the edges are curved is because this link is being selected, and now the link is making everything to be curved. You get. So if I unlink it and make one of the edge like this edge now 0, you will notice that this edge has gone back to its original state. Do you get? But let's click on Ctrl Z and link everything back together and even make them 0. Now let's go back to gradients because I just wanted to show you gradients, and I think after we show you guys gradients, that's all for colors. If there's any other thing for colors as we work on the flyer, I'll let you know. You know, I sent to 5 7. Okay. So oh, wait. Why can't we just do the yam? It's the same amount. We can do the yam. It's the same amount. We can do the yam. It's the same amount. So let's go back to the gradients. Let me show you guys something. First of all, one thing you need to know is that there are custom gradients here. So you can come here and select any of the gradient, then edit from there. So as this thing is now, you can add different points on the gradient and edit them adequately. So you can come here, edit this, come here, edit this, and as well come here, edit this. So you don't like this color, you can make it any other color you want. You get. So if you see a gradient online and you want to replicate the design, this is how you can do it. Yeah, you get. But this is very ugly, sha. But in order to start, I think you can use some of the templates. So these are more templates. There are templates under orange, so you can just play with these ones. You get. You see that they are very basic stuff, especially these ones here. They are just two gradients. I think there are more gradients that are very. Let me try and see. Like if you come under, let's see, red. Yeah, so this one now you see that it's 3 and it's still absolutely okay. This one is 3 as well. I don't know if it's absolutely okay, but it's 3. This one is pink, it's 2. Let me see if there's another one that is 3. It's like a combination of 3 colors, let's call it that. But this one is a combination of 4 colors. You get. So this is just a pro tip. For you to know how to mix the colors very well, you have to use maybe other external tools like colors.co, or maybe go to Pinterest or any other graphic design platform where you can see designs to take a hint from. Do you understand? Yeah. Let's move to designing the flyer. I know I've not really covered everything, but I believe in trial and error. So as we are practicing now, we will see some of the mistakes that we made and make corrections from there. So let's go back to fill color. Let's start with this color, for example. Then we can come here and let's just pick this. So let's start with this. So you see that the edges are curved, so we're going to curve the edges and basically reduce it. So as you reduce it, you see that the edges are more curved than they should be, so you can zoom inside as well. First of all, let's click on place. I want to do you guys something. This thing where like they teach you one thing in mathematics and then I'll give you another assignment that's more than the thing that they teach you. I don't know if that's wickedness, but I just believe in you guys. Also, let me show you something. So I'm actually just replicating this rectangle that is here. You get this one in the middle, but I feel like my own is bigger than their own, so let me reduce it a bit. So if you want to reduce something here, you might have issues with it, but there's a way to reduce proportionally. The way I've set my own, if I just reduce it, it reduces proportionally. I don't have to press hold or shift or anything. Now the reason why it's doing this is because see this thing here is selected. If I unselect it, it's not going to be reducing proportionally again. Do you understand? So for me to actually now reduce proportionally, if this thing is not selected, as I'm holding this, I have to press shift to reduce proportionally. Do you understand? So the same thing happens in reverse, that if this thing is selected for me to increase it, for me to increase one side without increasing all the sides, I have to press shift and one side reduce. So now I'm holding shift. So it depends on what you want. You can hold shift when you want to reduce proportionally, and do it the other way when you want to increase just one side. So me, I prefer increasing it. I prefer increasing it proportionally, normally without holding anything. Um, Sorry, let me sort something out. Glorious King, beauty like. Okay, so there's something I'm going to show you guys now. I don't think I've told you guys about that before, but I think it's going to be really helpful. So let's just create all the rectangles that exist in this design. Okay, then after we are done creating them, then we'll now start changing their colors. My glorious. So I can actually easy, if I wanted to, like, if that, you know I want to replicate this thing proper. I think one of the easiest things I can actually do for myself right now is to just, so that I get the proportion of the stuff I'm doing. I can just put it, drag this under, like just bring it under, and or take it up as well. Then reduce the opacity. You get. But I don't think I actually want to do it like the Weber team of what they did. Let's just do our own thing. So in order to select the colors, in order to select the particular rectangles, I remember telling you guys last week, if I want to select this rectangle that is here, I'm just going to right click. You see that rectangle that is here I showed. Then I will now change it to white. You get. Then this one too, I'll just right click, then change it to white as well. This one, I think we're close to the color that is there, but we just need to take it down a little bit. Then duplicate another one. I pressed alternate to in order to duplicate it. I told you guys that's how you duplicate anything, whether it's a text, whether it's a rectangle, whatever. Just press alternate and you duplicate it. So I click on enter, then I right click to get this rectangle again selected, or if you auto select is on, that is fine as well. You don't have to right click. Now another thing that I'm noticing, in this template design that we're using, that we're copying from, is that their background is not plain white. That's why white is showing on top of it. It's like a desaturated pink. So we can do that in two ways. First of all, we're going to duplicate this other rectangle, then remove all the rounded edges, then increase it. So I'm pressing shift now to extend this. Now take it to the downmost part of the document. Now I'm just going to double click on this and click on this color here. Now you see I've gotten the color. That's one way. Let me delete it. The second way, something I've not taught you guys before, is coming here. So if you come here now, you see solid color gradient and pattern. Who can remember where we saw solid color gradient and pattern? We saw it somewhere before. Solid color gradient and pattern. Nobody's talking, please. I need somebody to talk. Watch it. I've sent it to.
The same amount.
You want to eat yam?
Fried
Fried yam.
No, boiled yam and egg sauce.
No, I don't know.
I know we did that. We did that. Yeah, we did that.
Are we there, guys?
You can just do for yourself and chef.
Are we hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
So I mentioned I was talking about something. I said this solid color gradient and pattern. I had showed us, we had seen this somewhere before. Do you remember where it was?
Yes, when you click on the fill, like it's
Yeah.
under the property, under appearances, on the
Oh.
triangle, the rectangle.
Okay, thank you very much, Adizi. Um. So yeah, she's right. When you click on this fill here, you can see solid color. See, this solid color, this gradient and pattern. Now, there's something on Photoshop. There's something on Photoshop known as layer adjustment layers. And so adjustment layers are basically, I think I had talked about this. Adjustment layers, did I talk about this in another different class altogether? But adjustment layers are basically layers of some adjustments that exist on Photoshop. So for example, solid color is an adjustment that you can do to either a shape or a text. You get. So you can click on solid color, and instead of it to become just an adjustment, it's now become a layer altogether. So if I click on it, look at what it looks like. So look at it here. It's called color fill. So I can now come and use it to select this. You get. And the idea of adjustment layers is that adjustment layers will cover the whole of the page. Do you understand? It will cover the whole of the page, not just on one side or the other side. And you can't really see the end of adjustment layers. If I increase this artboard now, the layer is still there. You get. So yeah. Then you can go on gradient as well. Gradient becomes an adjustment layer. Then you come, look at it here. You can come here. Let's take one of the blues for example. You get. So this becomes the color of this layer. So this becomes the color of the layer, yes. Then you can drag it down as well. Do you understand? So let's delete this. We don't want the gradient. Same thing too. Patterns. You get. So you can adjust it. Let me take this here. So this is the angle and this is the scale. You can reduce the scale. You get. So it depends on what you want. Then the same thing too comes to brightness levels. So brightness talks about like how bright, like this is like a proper adjustment. So you can actually adjust it here or reduce it. So you can adjust brightness, reduce the brightness. So the reason why only the background is changing is because the adjustment layer is on top of the color background. But if I increase it to the top of the page, for example, it's going to affect everything. As I increase brightness or reduce brightness, everything is being affected. You get. Rather than just applying brightness and contrast, so I apply contrast as well. I don't think there's going to be any much change here, like I suspected. But yeah, so you can actually go and play with that. These are part of the things that because of the time limits that we have together in the whole class. Yeah, so you can actually go home, pick up your Photoshop and play with that. Now we're going to keep on formatting it so it looks like what we have there and make it white. Now, and you notice that this stuff now is not the same color as is in front of this rectangle. You get. So I'm just going to pick it up. Yeah. So I'm going to pick up my text tool and I'm going to start typing some things. Let's start with one of the biggest text I'm seeing here. So as I selected it now, it's just lorem ipsum that is there. Let's work with enter, then work with bold. So this is the properties of the text. Enter bold 30. Let's change the color before I even type to this. Let's reduce the space in between to like -50 and click on place. So I'm going to select it and press 1580. You get 1580. Then I'm going to duplicate this and say jobs. Because of laziness, if I want to replicate a flyer, the first thing I do, it's not laziness, it's productivity actually. Because I don't have to redo tasks that can easily be done. What I do is I'll carry this flyer now. If I want to replicate this flyer, like sometimes clients come and meet you and say, oh, I don't like what the other graphic designer did, I need you to do a better flyer but use the same details. What I will do is, I think I think I've worked on this with somebody like that before. Yeah, I'll take this to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, copy out all the text on this flyer. Very easy way. This is just like saving, and ChatGPT will just be so. I'll just tell it to copy out all the text. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, you can use Claude. Sorry, I don't know if you can use Claude because I don't use Claude, but I think you should be able to use it. I heard that people say Claude is mostly for all these job, whatever, all these technical write up and whatnot. So if you notice, as I'm applying it on any of the shapes, it is showing because all the text are on top of the layer. I really hope that you guys understand the way this layer something work. So I'm going to just edit each and every one of them. If you're watching the YouTube tutorial now, they will say, all right guys, let me edit each and every one of the text, and I'm going to fast forward over this, and yeah. So remember those days I used to watch, but you guys know what I'm doing, Sha. If you think you don't know what I'm doing, let me know. I would come back to this. For some reason, why is my this thing not? I don't feel like this purple is light purple enough. Let me just adjust it a little bit. Alright, so I'm just going to duplicate this, take it here and call it my. I'm going to show you guys something at the end of this class. I hope it actually blesses you or inspires you to know that, there's something I talked about, that nothing is new under the face of the earth, and that as a designer, one thing that you want to do is make sure that you have like something you're looking at when you're working on design, so that you can easily replicate and create something amazing. Now, I want to drag this saved and this box under in order to get this submit here. You get? So what I'm going to do now is to right click to get this particular rectangle that is on top. So when I have that rectangle selected, I'm now going to press Ctrl and select this one as well. Then I'm going to press on alternate and drag both of them up. God. Surumeki Jama, Salama, now you be my Wama. All right. For those of you, I'm just saying this. Are you guys hearing me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm coming. Let me turn on my screen. All right, confirm you're seeing my screen. Okay. So if you're watching this like after, just know that there was like a break in transmission. Somebody called me and it affected my network. Um, so we're just going to reduce this, and as we reduce it, it actually turns into exactly what we want. I actually wanted this to. So I noticed that they actually use like a regular font for this. It's not so much of a thick font. So I'm going to come here and reduce it and increase it a bit. Right click, take the rectangle, press shift, and I reduce it as well. But everything all together needs to be increased a little bit. So I'm going to hold. Make sure that also when you're increasing something, make sure that two of them are selected. Both rectangle and submit. Make sure they are both selected and you increase it. You get. Let me just reduce it a bit so that it matches what you're doing. Yeah. So I'm just going to. What I'm trying to recreate now is this lines here. And I think what you are trying to illustrate with the lines is like write-ups. Maybe when somebody's writing their experience. Because this is supposed to be like an advertisement for a job app. Like I think all these apps now that help you apply for AI or something. Maybe get jobs online. Now, here's another thing that I was talking about. I think the first day when we talked about alignment. So, other than just aligning things left, right, middle, there's another way you can align things. You get, so I'm going to select all these rectangles, rectangle 10, 9, 8, and 7. Now, look at this stuff here. If I click on these two buttons, so there's align and there's distribute. So I want to distribute this thing in such a way that there is equal spaces in between both of them. Now, how you do this is that you note where the first object is and the last object. There's unequal spaces in between. So make sure that everything is selected. Then you come here and distribute equally on the vertical axis. If that this document if it was aligned horizontally, you will come here and say distribute equally on the horizontal axis. See now there's space in between. The space in between all of them is the same, and because all of them are this shape, sorry, are this color, you can come here and change the fill color to, let's click on this, change the fill color to this. That's another thing. So if you change the fill color from here, you might not see the effect until you press OK. So I'm just going to select the artboard. See this starting to come alive. All right. Then I'm going to take this as well and just call it. So I'm not going to do all these rigmaroling things that they did on here because of time. Lift your game dot land the gig. So nobody wanted to be my assistant in this class, so you guys don't really like me as much as I thought. The word the world will shame you, but your mother always loves you. I'm joking. So yeah, I'm going to select the background text. Then select apply again as well and duplicate. So this is like a very productive way to work, where like you just take from one place and put in another place. So I'm just going to, yeah, then hold shift and extend this, reduce the reduce it, and let me reduce it to like 8. So there's this find your dream job today. um I'm going to take this here. So see here, select it, take it to the middle. You see there's these lines that are coming, these pink lines that are sort of like helping me see the direction, so that I put it exactly in the middle of this stuff. I think you can turn it off and on by going to view. So if you come to view, snap, so snap to guides, and be not supposed to turn on. So snap to guide is turned on, but there's this snap here. This is snap that makes it. If you want to, as I've unselected it now, let me go back. Snap to layers. So make sure that all these things are actually selected, so that the idea is that as you're dragging in a sort of like a guide, you get, so you see as you're actually snapping to layers. Something else I wanted to talk about that we see in this flyer. So I'm just going to increase this a little because that's how it is there. Right click and let's see this. So something I need to talk about is how to get. So I'm just going to stop sharing this screen. How am I going to do this now? Yeah, so I don't have to stop sharing the screen. So what I want to do is to download this icon that they used. You get. So this is just like extra. But like, let's say search icon. Search icon. Then this freepik.com, just search for a search icon. Then because this icon I'm looking for, I can come here and select. Okay, I'm not seeing it here, Okay, you can just scroll in and click on icon. So there are different categories on freepik. Because I like this one, it's not exactly what it is there, Let me use this one. So I'm going to download it as, I don't have like a premium account. If not, I would have been able to download it as SVG. But for now, PNG will suffice. So see where that stuff is now. This stuff here, and I'm going to drag it. So I'm dragging it to Photoshop now. You get. So this is the icon. Now I'm going to reduce it. As I reduce it, you see how it's going to reduce in quality. And the reason why everything is so reduced in quality like this is because of the resolution that we used. But guess what? It's okay for screen view, you get. But now, if you want to change the color of this PNG, you can come here to FX and click on color overlay. And if you click on color overlay, you're going to get something like this, you get. So make sure blend mode is set to normal. Blend mode is very important. Make sure it's set to normal except there's an effect you want to give. But for now, let's work with normal. Make sure that the opacity is low. You see, it's not going to be showing that much. Remember I told you that the lower the opacity, the higher the transparency. But the opacity is high, the lower the transparency. So now the opacity that we're talking about is the opacity of the effect that we are adding. You get. So make sure then you set the color to whatever it is that you want to be. You can come here and select this. You get okay. So color overlay basically means that this thing that you want to apply color overlay to, you're changing the entire color of the element. You get, yeah. So if in case I don't want to change it so much, you can now start playing with the so as you play with the this thing I'll be going, you see the difference. You get, so as I'm playing with the blend modes, that's what they call this stuff. Play with the blend modes. So you can actually, that's another thing, you can on your own go and look for, go to YouTube and search what blend modes are on Photoshop. Blend modes apply both Photoshop, CapCut, Figma. I've not really seen it on Figma before, but at least I know I've seen it on CapCut before. So even Premiere Pro too, you see it. So go and search for what blend modes are. If you learn what blend modes are before our next class, let me know. Come to my DM and let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. You get, so learn what blend modes are. Then make sure that the opacity is set right and press OK. So now you've changed the color. You get, cover time, you're not going to go to, so this one too, you can just go there and search pencil icon. You get, but let's just do this last thing before we call it a day. You're going to look for this image and apply it here, and that's something else I'm going to teach you guys. So yeah, let's just go to free pick and say girls pressing their phone. Also in today's world, you can actually create a lot of these images using AI. So now because we are on the icon category, this is what you will see. But you can come here and go to images, all images, and you see this stuff. If people are interactive now, say which one do you want? I'm just going to use the one I want. I think I like this one. It's well lit. And let me just use like a proper. And people are snubbing me now. If I talk now, it's going to take 2 weeks for people to respond. Alright, so I can just drag this image here. Don't worry, next class I'll carry gift and come for the most interactive person. So now, because this image is supposed to be on, you remember that rectangle that has been in the background since? What we are going to do is to drag it and look for that rectangle. So look at that rectangle here. It's the biggest rectangle here. You get? Now there's something called clipping marks. Clipping marks, and there are two ways to apply clip marks. Clip marks is basically that if you use CorelDRAW or something, okay, you put on use CorelDRAW, but like clip marks is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's on CorelDRAW, it's on Illustrator, it's on Figma, it's on Photoshop. The idea of clip marks is that it's even on Affinity as well. That's another pro tip. Please go and learn how to use Affinity. If you've learned Photoshop, it's not going to be so hard to learn how to use Affinity, because I'm guessing that in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, Affinity will become industry standard. Yeah. When it does, you should come and buy me Coke or Fanta. Because I prophesied it. So, I don't know if this is the best picture anymore because their phone is not showing. But at least the girls are there waiting concern me. Clip marks is basically putting a certain element inside another element. You understand? So I'm going to right click now and say, you can either come here and click on create clipping marks. So if I create clipping marks now, it means that I want to put this object inside the object below. Let me press Ctrl Z so that you see another way to create clip mark. I think that one is even much more effective. Now, this layer is selected. Even if this layer is not even selected, but let's just select it. You can just click on options or alternate and make sure when it's in the middle, you see this thing showing. Abi, you're seeing this thing, this rectangle and like this arrow down button. You get it's showing here. Then you click on it and it has clip marks automatically. Now, you get to learn a lot as you learn these clip marks. And the idea is if I turn off the visibility here, the visibility is automatically turned off here. If I reduce the opacity here, I pray this actually works. Exactly. The opacity of this one too has automatically reduced, but it might not really show here. You get, but because it's inside it, that's what's going to happen. Do you understand? So because now the reason why this thing is not showing is because this thing now needs to go up so that it can truly be at the back. You get, so yeah, that is the replication of this flyer. What do you guys think? All right, now let me do another thing again that you guys might like. I think it's noteworthy to see because this flyer, it was an inspiration flyer for one of the flyers I did recently for myself. And here's the flyer. So you see, it's not exactly the same thing, but I think what I just picked from it first of all was the idea of putting the subject image of the flyer inside a rectangle. I actually initially put it in the middle because of like other details I had to add. So the idea was like the idea I got from this was the subject image is here, then every other thing around the flyer is layered all around it, you get, as much as possible. So at least what you get, a one-on-one branding mentorship for designers, brand crafts was all around it. You get, yeah. Also, the class is ongoing. If you're interested, let me know. I actually don't think you should let me know because it's for people that are already designers, not people that are learning design from scratch. You might not really understand anything I say when I'm teaching. So yeah, we've come to the end of this class. I'm going to save this inside the folder I created for career map. Then I'll send you guys the flyer to go and replicate. I'll send you the flyer, I'll send you the image, I'll send you the icon to go and replicate it. Have an amazing rest of your day. Sorry, do you have any questions? All right, you can go.
Good evening, sir. Sorry. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for the lesson. Is that issue of with moving image, uploading image on the canvas, please? I've been trying it and I don't get it. I missed the first class actually.
Did you drag the image?
Yes, but it will show this circle
Okay,
and like
and a
line, like
stroke
circle.
inside of it. There's like a diagonal stroke inside the circle.
Yes, yes.
What kind of laptop do you use?
HP folio.
So
Sorry.
I used to have that issue, but it's not like your laptop is low. It's just, especially, is it 11? Is it Windows 11?
No, it's Windows 10.
It's Windows 10. Yeah. How would you be having that kind of issue? The route I want to tell you is way harder, but like it's going to solve your problem. So Adese had suggested something recently. You can just come here and click on place embedded, and if you click on place embedded, it's going to open your file explorer, and you can come here and select whatever it is you want to place, and it's going to place on the documents. Do you understand?
No, I don't. Sorry, can you come again, please?
So if you come to file, click on place embedded, then you go to downloads or wherever the document is. Look for it on your, this is like your normal file explorer. Now you see it, you look for the image, then click on the image. You can double click on the image actually, and it would appear. Do you understand?
Yes, it worked. Thank you. Thank you
Oh my
so much.
All right. Joking. Let me turn off the recording.